Best of r/entitled parents episode 185. Subscribe for edit videos daily. EM on vacation. Hello people, was a long time lurker before, but since reading some stories in this section it reminded me of a story of my own. It's a long story but hopefully you can get to the end. Basically, I was working in an agency couple of years ago, where we managed vacation homes and apartments for rental in some coastal regions directly with their owners. Moving forward, a family rented an apartment 20 meters from the beach. Important later, it was a small apartment with very detailed description of what you would get/receive in it and what the size was. There were also a lot of pictures with no hidden angles. Everything seemed to be fine until the second day out of the 6 days the apartment was booked. There came the complaints that the apartment was a disaster. So here comes the story. EM equals you know who. M equals me. LL equals laid back landlord who rents the apartment. EM is calling. EM, hello, this is CB, we have rented apartment at. It is our second day here, and we are extremely upset about everything here. M, what seems to be the problem? EM, the whole apartment is terribly dirty, it's just impossible to sleep let alone be in this environment, walls dirty, cracks etc. We want another accommodation for us. My poor children might get sick here. Keep in mind, they complained about it after one day of already staying there, and we cannot simply change their stay just trusting on their word. Mom, could you kindly send us the pictures of where the issues are with the description on our mail? We will check it instantly and see what we can do. The EM agrees and sends some pictures with description. So as looking through it I can't see any problems. The apartment was a small one. Basically 35m2 and walls seemed alright. There were merely a few sand stains on the balcony by the door which obviously, any wind could have blown at any moment. To make everything simpler for all of us, I contacted the landlord and asked to sweep it off so we can get it all done as she seemed like an entitled kind of wreck. Landlord agreed as he received also some calls just to get it done. One day later. EM, hello, it's again. I have complaints again about this disastrous place. It's just too small for my family. W have barely room to move around it and it's just a whole mess here. The living conditions in this one are not suitable for animals let alone humans. Mom, could you explain what exactly is the issue now? As I have spoken to the landlord everything was cleaned and in working order. EM, there is sand on the balcony again, and the place is just too small. Although these 35m2 would be bigger than in the description. I shit you not, she said that, and her kids don't have a place to play in the apartment. The apartment was as described. We cannot make changes in meantime, as you agreed to rent everything as it was and everything was provided as promised. I want at least to get the first night free for the mess there was. Me already pissed. Alright mom, I'll check with the landlord and call you back. I took a 5-minute break as the call was longer. This is a shortened version and I was mildly pissed. After I started to call the landlord explaining the situation. LL. Yay. I kept getting some calls about everything. What is wrong with this woman? I don't know. Could we somehow get an agreement to this situation? She's asking for the first night free for the troubles etc. What can we do? LL. I'm not really interested in arguing with her. I'll let the first night pass and let's get it done with him. Thank you for understanding. I am also just trying to get it done. Later calling EM. Hello mom. The fees for the first night will be waived, so it's handled EM. Oh good, as it is supposed to be. This is a hellhole where we are etc. Glad to be of services. Have a pleasant stay. Couple of days later we get another call from her. Good morning. I'm EM and we are staying at, we already had some calls with you Hello mom. Yes I remember. How can we help you today EM? We would like to stay 2 more nights here, and we are asking for a discount on it. I'm trying to process everything right now, since she was complaining that everything was a hellhole, people can't live here etc. And now she wants to stay longer, and is asking for discount? Mom, that is not possible, and even if I could give discount, there are new guests coming after you leave the apartment as it is reserved What do you mean I can't get it? After staying here for X days we deserve the discount for our troubles. and because of the conditions my poor children had to stay at. No mom. We did everything we could to provide a pleasant stay, and we do not owe anything to anyone. Shame on you. We had some more complaints about everything. Obviously she is making them up. We cannot help you with that mom. Hangs up full of anger. Later I called the landlord due to wanting to show what just happened and he just laughed it off and just said crazy people. Was a good sport about everything. TL. Doctor. Hates everything about the apartment by C she booked for vacation. Calls it Rachel hole and unlivable. Too dirty for her poor children. Then demands discount so she can stay longer in it. Thank you. Next. Screams at me for not babysitting at the last minute. So this story happened about 12-13 years ago, so whole conversation is just in general of what happened. Cast, me, sister, fiance, kid 1, 2, and 3, and kids are more background characters. Background, so the in this story is my younger sister. She was living with her fiance and 3 children. I, 20-something am your average shy introvert who would rather be at home than out around a bunch of strangers. At this time of my life I did want kids of my own but hadn't found the guy I wanted to have with. So totally doted on EM's kids, they are the light of my life. Had just gotten off of work from my chain to a desk job and am driving home when I get a call from EM. Hey OP, how was your day? Making appropriate noises pretending to listen and have interest in what I have to say. Really? Okay, well I just wanted to know if you can watch the kids tonight while Edie and I go out. Me. Oh, sorry, I can't tonight. Made plans to meet with friends. What? How dare you do this to me? Edie and I never get to go out and you want to deny us this rare chance. Note, and Edie usually go out about 2-4 times a week and always call me about 1-2 hours before they want to drop kids off. Then they pick the kids up around 2-3 a.m. or just leave them overnight for me to take to daycare before work. I am never informed of which is going to happen, so been late for work a few times. Also I babysat for free. I try get a word in but is screeching too much. After a few more minutes she just hangs up. Now she's the kind of person who wishes could slam the phone down still. Wait a moment then rapidly slam it more hoping you hear it. I get a few more calls within the next half hour, which I answer cause I'm a doormat, trying to guilt trip me or screaming about my selfishness. I neither see or hear for a few days until needing last minute babysitting again. Calls like didn't completely flip her ST a few days ago. Sadly no karmatic justice rained down yet. Thank you. Next. Motorcycle cowboys. Finally experienced my own and EKs in the wild. Honestly before this I always thought the stories here might just be a little bit made up. I mean no offense to any ARPs. I just couldn't fathom people actually acting the way they are portrayed here. So I was deeply involved in a home improvement project. One that required me to turn both the power and the water off. I am laid off right now due to CV-19 but my wife is still working. The plan was that I would accomplish my task when she was at work and have everything buttoned back up by the time she got home. Things are going good until I realized I needed a few odds and sods and a run to the local hardware store 20 minutes from my house was in order. As the required items were small and it was a sunny day, I rode my motorcycle. Got there, got my stuff, came out to leave, found a mother and presumably twin boys standing next to my bike. I think they were twins. Same size, same shape, matching outfits, dressed like cowboys, hats and holsters, right down to little mini cowboy boots. I suppressed a smirk at their outfits. I have been riding for about 35 years so I know motorcycles often garner attention, often from children, and as an avid enthusiast I promote the sport. After all it was a similar interaction when I was a young boy that fueled my lifelong passion for riding. That being said I have minimal patience for small, carbon-based life forms, under the age of, say, 35. The one kid is yelling motorbike, the other kid is making room sounds. Says that her sons like motorcycles. I politely acknowledge this, put my purchases in my saddlebags and start putting my helmet on. Sensing that I am leaving the kids start saying they want to sit on it and both start trying to climb on it. coming dangerously close to the header and exhaust pipes, which I know will be very hot. I step closer and say whoa, whoa, whoa. EM goes 0-100 in a nanosecond and screams at me for talking to her kids that way. No one talks to her kids like that. No one says no to them obviously. Dot. I literally said just those 3 words. You'd think a fucking cowboy would understand whoa. EM says that he just wants to sit on it and lifts one of them up to hoist him aboard. He doesn't know what to do with his feet and he kicks his hard-soled cowboy boots into my gas tank. Once aboard, the other one screams he wants to ride too and EM huffs him aboard. He also does a tap dance on my paint job. Now if you are not part of the motorcycle community, you may not understand, but there is etiquette. That you don't sit on someone else's motorcycle without their permission. It's sort of like if you were in a parking lot and you like someone's car, and you want to sit in the front seat. You wouldn't do that without asking. But I'm willing to let that go, because we have 2 young excited boys on our hands. So both cowboys are now on my bike, and they are twisting things, and kicking things, and just being little shitty boys, as boys will be. However, I'm on a schedule. Remember, my house is sitting there with no power and no water and my wife is due home in 2 hours. So after a suitably generous time letting these 2 little fucks play around, I tell EM that I have to leave. Both cowboys immediately pitch a fit, saying they want to go for a ride. EM tells me to take them for a little ride around the parking lot. 2 problems. My motorcycle only really has a 1 seat, although it does have a luggage rack behind the seat that I suppose could carry a small human in a pinch. I also only have my own helmet, so thrill rides are definitely out. I tell EM this, and she says oh it'll be okay, just do it, right now. I refuse and ask her to remove her children immediately. She threatens to get the manager of the hardware store. I say go ahead, what the fuck is he gonna do? I reiterate the fact that I want her to remove her children from my motorcycle immediately. Now she threatens to phone the cops, to which I think, go ahead, what the fuck are they going to do? Seeing no immediate action from her, I stepped forward and grabbed the first little cowboy, meaning to lift him off my bike. EM simply shrieks at me to unhand her child. She actually used the word unhand. Made me laugh out loud. I said fine, but take them off immediately as I have to leave. She finally did so, and I hopped on and started the engine, which I admit is quite loud. Both little cowboys immediately covered their ears and started crying. These little fuckers want to go for a ride and don't like loud pipes. I took off, came home, finished my project getting the power and the water on literally 5 minutes before my wife arrived. When she came home I was telling her of my story about this incident, when my phone rang and it was the local police service. EM had actually reported me to the police via my plate number, and said that I was operating a motorcycle in a reckless manner endangering her children. The cop said because they didn't respond to the scene that I wouldn't receive a citation, but it was more of a courtesy call. I explained the whole situation back to him, including the part about her wanting me to take the kids on a ride, and his tone immediately changed. He said that things made a lot more sense now hearing my side. He thought the whole story sounded a little bit fishy, nothing more would come of it. From this day forward I will never again doubt anything I read in this sub. EMs are out there, people. Be careful. Thank you. Next. Entitled Soccer Mom. I'm on mobile, so excuse the shite spelling background info. So I have a pretty decent mountain bike. Worked a summer job to get it, and as an added surprise one of my close friends got me a wired speedometer. It tracks how fast the thing on the tire is spinning and the tire size, and then boom, your speed. It's zip tied on and can be slid off pretty easily, so I always take it off when I leave my bike anywhere. So as we showed up to practice, my brother and I parked the bikes and I didn't grab the speedometer. I don't think much of it cause I can see it. Enter EK and EM. EK was an alright soccer player but not an expeller. His practice ended about 10 minutes before my brother's. Practice ended and the EM says you did so good at practice. I'll let you get a little gift. EK, that bike is nice, pointing to my brother's bike. EM, no, that's too much. What about this? Grabs the speedometer off my bike. Me, it's not for sale, I say as a joke. EM, you're not using it, why do you deserve it? I calmly take it off and flip through until I get to the odometer. ME 512 miles on this bike. May more on my last that's fake, I don't even drive that much in a year. It's been a awfully nice year so far with the snow. Cuts me off, don't bullshit me. I know you're not being truthful. A quick whistle blow and practice is done. A little more bullshit and she's yelling at me to give it back. What she forgot is that there were 9 other competent adults there too. So they come over and ask, this is the last straw. You've been nothing but trouble for this team. Leaves, and when she shows back up next week the coaches tell her to leave or they will call the police. All in all, pretty good time. Thank you. Next. Kids nearly broke my drums at TL. Doctor at the bottom. Backstory. It was our neighbor's wedding. They had invited a lot of guests to their home. They had a dog, Rottweiler. 2 kids, Ek1 and unentitled kid 2, were scared of that dog, so we let them stay at our house for the evening till the wedding at night. Indian traditions. On to the story. The kids came and I am very friendly to them. I turn on the TV for them and gave them my toys from the cupboard. They were enjoying themselves, so I went to my room and started playing some games on my PC. After a while they came to my room saying that they were bored and wanted to play games on my PC. I said no and they wandered off. After a while I heard a loud crash from my drum room. I rushed over to see those 2 kids taking my drumsticks and hitting the drums. I asked them not to. Ek2 was sad but he went away without a word. Ek1 looked at me and started banging the drums, but not on the skins but on the sides. I quickly snatched the sticks. He looked at me, then a grin appeared on his face. A wide grin. He started to slap my drums with his hand. I did not want to harm him, so I gently grabbed his hand and dragged him while he kicked and punched me. Then I told him sternly not to play the drums or go near it. He started wailing. Then his mother came after listening to the chaos. He came in furious because she thought that I had hit him or something. She asked me pretty rude way, what did you do to him? I calmly explained what happened. Her expression changed very quickly. She apologized and took her kids without another word. TL. Doctor. Kids came in my house for evening, starts banging my drums. I stopped him. He started to cry his ass off. Thank you. Next. wants full refund and replacement order. Okay, so I haven't been on Reddit long. Kind of a newbie, so be kind and sorry for the long story. Reading some of these stories have brought back so many memories of when I managed an ice cream shop in a very popular, very busy, tourist destination in a coastal city in Texas. There were lots of restaurants, souvenir shops, etc., all with a nice view of the bay. Anyway, I'll get to the story. Setting: July in Texas, very hot outside. At a very crowded TD, tourist destination Ike's, ice cream shop. Cast: entitled Mom, Me, Myself. I was also the general manager. Cashier. It's July, our busiest season at the TD. So busy that I have an employee giving numbers to people as they enter and they have to wait for their number to be called to be served. It's hot and there's a line out the door and around the corner. Cue the EMS calls out a number. Let's just say 97. Keep in mind, we're extremely crowded, so we're basically screaming the numbers. No response. S calls 97 3 more times with no response. I tell him to move on. We don't have time for that. As soon as S calls 498, guess who shows up? Comes to the counter already mad. To S, you skipped my number. I've been waiting forever. S looks over at me and I come by, explain that we call a number 3 to 4 times and if we don't get a response, we have to move on. She didn't like that. To me, that's a load of bullshit. Let me talk to your manager. No one called my number. I was listening. Me, there's no need for that. I'd be happy to serve you. What can I get you all? I send S to help 98 instead and take over. Well, I don't know. Tell me all the flavors, me mom. All the flavors are labeled and you can sample any you like. Takes her time looking through all the flavors while giving me dirty looks and mumbling stuff to her husband and kids. After probably a dozen samples, the family orders and I explain the sizing, the cones, bowls, mix-ins, etc. They all order cones with ice cream that now has several mix-ins. This is important because the more stuff you add, the softer the ice cream gets. So, pays, complaining the entire time about how expensive it was and how I was overcharging them. Blah blah blah. Whatever. I finally get them done and I move on. 5-10 minutes later, I hear yelling and S waving at me to come over. I ask someone to take over my current customers and I go to S. I want my money back. Me, I'm so sorry mom. Can you explain what the problem is? We started walking around outside and this overpriced ice cream started melting all down our hands and got all over my kids' clothes. Me, well, mom, it's about 102 outside today, so unfortunately, ice cream will inevitably melt. That's not an excuse. I paid good money for this ice cream and I want it all refunded and replaced. At this point, I'm in awe of the audacity of this woman. I'm wasting my time dealing with this complaint while over 100 people are waiting to be served. Mom, I'd be happy to give all of you cups and you can turn your cones upside down in them. That'll stop it from getting everywhere and make it easier to eat. Get your manager now. I am the manager, mom. And unfortunately I cannot refund or replace your ice cream because of the heat outside. Starts screaming, calling me names, and asking for the owner's phone number. Obviously, I'm not giving my boss number. I gave her the number for corporate and told her to enjoy the rest of her day. She continued to call me names and tell me I'll be fired because of this. I continued calling numbers and helping other guests. Eventually, she starts bothering my other customers and they basically tell her to shut up and get out. Corporate called me the next day asking if this was a real complaint. They apparently thought it was a fake because it was in all caps and one long sentence. We laughed about it and moved on with our lives. TLDR. Entitled Mom thinks she can get refund and replacement ice cream after it melted in 102-degree weather. Edit. I have hundreds of stories like this. If you all want to hear more. Thank you. Next. Wash your hands please. It seems that the cafe I work at attracts the crazy ones. For backstory, I work at a cafe that's doing takeout only and having employees wear masks in compliance with city and provincial orders right now, and for the most part we're doing pretty well. We've even got to the point of where we hired one new employee to deal with the upcoming summer increase that we think is coming. The person we hired though was a huge mistake. We live in an area where it's just where the wealthier and normal areas of the city meet, so we see a lot of both kinds of people in here. It just so turns out that this 16-year-old new employee fell within the wealthier side. As usually, K is entitled kid, entitled mom, me, man is manager. We start our story off on EK's first day and after his telephone interview. I'm in the front getting ready to work and ready to train him when EK comes out into the front espresso bar rather quick, and wearing his mask improperly with his nose not covered and his upper lip basically hanging out. Me. First, you need to fix your mask, and second, did you wash your hands? EK. Checking his phone. I washed my hands at home. Me. Okay, the rules here, even if there wasn't a pandemic, are that you wash your hands before starting work. And put your phone away. No phones while you're up front. EK. Looking up from his phone. Me. Go wash your hands and fix your mask. EK. Giving me the evil eye. No, I washed my hands at home. What, do you think I'm infected? Me. Pointing to the health authority sign. Just wash your hands, please. EK. I washed them at home. Why am I gonna do it again? Man. Cleaning parts of an espresso machine. EK. You need to wash your hands and wear your mask properly. Over your mouth and nose. At that point EK grumbles and trudges over to the hand wash sink. Out of the corner of my eye I see him just wet his hands, shake them dry and come back. Manager seemed to see much more than that. Man, speaking in her patented mom voice, wash your hands properly please. Water and soap for 20 seconds. EK. Fuck you. Man, dropping all politeness. You're fired. EK. Wide-eyed and shocked. What? Man, you're fired. Return your apron please and get out. EK. Now angry. What? Cause I won't waste water and soap. Man, frustrated herself. Because you're being disrespectful, not only to me but to other employees. I'm not going to tolerate. EK. Seriously? You're gonna be that guy? Man, yes, I am. Now get out. EK threw his apron on the ground and stormed out, but not before giving everyone the finger and yelling some racial slurs at manager and promising we'd be hearing from him. Later that day we got an angry phone call from his mother. I was lucky enough to be in the office when the call came in, and manager was nice enough to put it on speakerphone. It starts midway through the call below. So you better have a good reason for firing EK without giving him a reason. Man, I did. Did he tell you? Yes, he did, but I don't accept it. Man, silent for a few seconds before speaking. Well, man, what did he tell you? That you fired him for not washing his hands. Man, he was also highly disrespectful towards me and the barista trying to train him, and he called me a racial slur on the way out in front of a group of customers. So what? Man, I'm not about to tolerate that kind of thing in my cafe. If someone else hires him, fine by me, but I'm going to be warning the other business owners in the area about him. That's libel. Man, then sue me. But I'm pretty sure no one will want him if he acts like that with them. Getting higher pitched in tone. You're gonna regret that. Man, my son is in culinary sciences at school. Man, he is already a culinary prodigy. Man, and a racist. He's gonna get hired at another cafe. Man, not after they hear. And that cafe's gonna drive you out of business. Man, okay. Silent for a few seconds. Why aren't you scared? I know how hard things are with the Chinese flu right now. I bet you're gonna go bankrupt in the next few days. Man, this conversation is over. What? Man, my decision is final. Your son is fired. No. Man, I'll be alerting all businesses about your son. No, you will not, you racist slur. At that point, manager reached over and just hung out without saying anything else. We disconnected the phone for the rest of the day, and while we haven't heard anything directly from or EK, other businesses have been alerted, and we've already heard that EK has tried to apply at other places, and none of them have hired him on manager's advice.